15 months ago, a teenager from the Philippines walked onto a court in Miami and did something nobody saw coming. She took down two of the biggest names in women's tennis back-to-back. That run turned Eala into a household name overnight. Fast forward to today, and that same fire is burning again. This time on the clay of Berlin, where Eala has just delivered another gut punch to the tennis world's elite. In the early hours of Saturday morning, Philippine time, Eala stepped onto Steffi Graf Stadion and dismantled world number 8 Elina Svitolina in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4, punching her ticket into the semifinals of the 2026 Berlin Open. And if you think this was a fluke, think again. This is now the 6th time in her career that Eala has beaten a top 10 opponent. 6 times. Against the best players the sport has to offer. But here's what makes this particular win sting a little more for her opponents. It's not a one-off. This is the first time since that unforgettable Miami stretch that Eala has strung together 2 wins of this caliber in a row. Back then, it was Madison Keys and Iga Swiatek who fell. This time, it was Elena Rybakina in the quarterfinal before her, and now Svitolina. The pattern is unmistakable. When Eala gets hot, she doesn't just beat one big name. She goes on a run. So how did this one actually play out? Let's break it down, because the story inside the scoreline is just as compelling as the result itself. Eala came out of the gates like she had something to prove. She raced to a 3-love lead in the opening set, breaking Svitolina's serve early in just the second game and then holding twice with total control. For a few games, it looked like she might simply run away with it. Both players settled into a steady rhythm after that, trading holds through the middle of the set until Svitolina, a former world number 3 who knows exactly how to find her footing under pressure, clawed her way back into contention. She broke serve in the 7th game, cutting the deficit to 4-3, and suddenly the momentum that had felt so one-sided was hanging in the balance. That's usually the moment where a young player might start to feel the pressure creep in. Eala did the opposite. She answered immediately, breaking right back in the 8th game to restore her cushion, and then closed out the set with a confident service game in the 9th. 6-3, set 1 to Eala. Now here's something interesting. If you only looked at the aces, you'd think Svitolina had the edge, since she out-aced Eala 4-1 in that first set. But aces don't always tell the real story. Eala was the more efficient player where it actually mattered, landing 69% of her first serves compared to Svitolina's 62, and winning 15 points to 11 across the set. It was a masterclass in precision over power. The second set started off looking like an even bigger statement. Eala dug in for a brutal opening game that stretched to 18 points before she finally wrestled away the break. She consolidated immediately with a hold, and just like that, she was up 2-love and cruising. But Svitolina, true to her experience and her pedigree, refused to fade quietly. She held to stay alive, then broke right back in the 4th game to level things up at 2-all. For a moment, it felt like the match could swing entirely in her favor. Eala had other plans. She flipped the switch again, breaking in the 5th game, holding, then breaking once more in the 7th to surge ahead 5-2. She was 1 game away from the semifinals, and you could practically feel the finish line approaching. Svitolina, ever the competitor at 31 years old, wasn't ready to let it go that easily. She broke in the 8th game and held the next to trim the gap to 5-4, setting up one final moment of suspense. But Eala had been here before. With everything on the line, the 21-year-old served out the match in the 10th game, sealing a 6-4 second set and securing yet another statement win in what's already shaping up to be the breakout season of her career. And if you're wondering what carried her through the tighter moments, look no further than her return game. Eala won 13 of her return points against Svitolina's first serve, and an even more dominant 21 against her second. Those numbers tell you everything about how she handled the pressure when it mattered most. She wasn't just defending, she was actively dictating points off her opponent's serve. So what's next for the Filipina sensation? She moves on to face world number 13 Linda Noskova in the semifinals, and this matchup comes with a storyline all its own. Eala currently holds a brutal 1-13 record against players from the Czech Republic. 1 win, 13 losses. It's the one nation that has consistently given her trouble throughout her career, and now she'll have to break that curse if she wants to keep this incredible run alive. Think about the magnitude of what's happening here. A player who, just over a year ago, stunned the world with back-to-back wins over major names in Miami, is now doing it again, on a completely different surface against completely different opponents, and seemingly getting better with every match. Beating Rybakina. Beating Svitolina. Two more legendary names added to a growing list of upsets that nobody expected from a player still finding her footing on the world stage. The question now isn't whether Eala belongs among the elite. She's already answered that 6 times over. The real question is whether she can finally shake off her struggles against Czech opposition and turn this incredible Berlin run into something even bigger. If her last 2 matches are any indication, you should not count her out. Not for a second.